Okay, thank you. Okay, so did you want to move to sentencing today, or do you want to set a date?
I think we should move today, Judge.
Okay.
Do we,
Okay.
do we need to advise the defendant a 10-day right to appeal?
Yes. Okay, you do have a right to appeal, and you can appeal that, I believe, within 10 days. You may have to set an appeal bond in order to do that. In other words, you may have to pay to do that, but you will have a right to appeal. But remember, you won't have a right to appeal the fact that you represented yourself. Okay? So why don't we go ahead and we can move to sentencing at this time. Mr. Kraft?
Yes, Your Honor. This is a bit of an unusual case, as the court heard. Mr. Crane, I spent a good hour talking about all this stuff. And some of his behaviors are due to, I believe, his surgery he had the day before and the pain that he was in. I think also some of the problems and challenges that he has in analyzing situations. And I think that combination resulted in a really bad choice that day. In looking at his record, he had a really significant prior incident involving an assault that he actually went to prison on. And he went into quite a bit of detail with that. I think it was resulted in an assault 1. And I want to say 6 to 7 years in prison.
7.5.
7.5 years. And I don't think we need to go in details, but he really felt like he wanted to represent himself in this case and not have a lawyer represent him. I think that a little bit of the problem is he wasn't seeing both sides of the situation. He was just seeing his own pain. And I don't think having him go to jail for this conviction, I don't think that would be appropriate. I'm not sure about any kind of treatment that is needed now that his back's kind of resolved. I'm just not really sure about that. I think some community service, Judge, or any kind of treatment that you think might be helpful for him. I really want to make sure that he realizes, he could have made some different choices too. And he was in a lot of pain, but, grabbing the light and rocking it towards the EMT wasn't the right choice at that situation. I don't know if you'll get a chance to talk. I don't know if he really gets that. And so I wish that he could see, yeah, maybe they made some mistakes and maybe I made mine. It'd be easier, but we're not asking that he go to jail today for this, Judge.
Okay. Go ahead.
Community service, I don't know what I could do. I've got total disability. I've got to sitting as long as we do here. When I get to go out, I just walk around because it's very hard for me to sit this long as if we've been sitting here. I've got to do one thing and then the other. I can't walk very far without having to sit. I can't sit very long without having to get up and walk. I can't lift much. And I really don't know what kind of community service I'd do. And as far, you guys just weren't there. They came in and attacked me. I don't care if you give me another 7.5 years. I'll never think I didn't have the right to defend myself. Whether the law says that or not, it shouldn't. Nobody should have the right to come into your house and do what they did to me. And I should have the right to defend myself. And I'm not trying to talk myself into more trouble, but it's just not right. And I'll never think it was. I don't blame the jurors. The way he read the law, but my situation, the people that wrote that law never had that in mind. That's why you have juries. I meant to point that out. There's always exceptions to how strict these laws are written. Nobody can live just by the book or you'd never come out of your house. It's just, I believe those people should be in jail. I always will. They came in and assaulted me. I'm scared of cops now. I had anxiety before. Now, if a cop comes behind me, I don't know if he'd pull me over, give me a ticket, or if he's just gonna come up and what, you know, cause.
Well, the bottom line is, you wanted your day in court. I think we were fair. You got your day in
Yes,
court.
you were very good. Thank you very much for your.
No, you're more than welcome, and the prosecutor was more than helpful too.
You
You
was.
know, I mean, you got your day in court. That's what our goal was. The jury decided,
Yeah.
and so at this point,
Judge, could I make one last point?
absolutely.
I tried to tell Mr. Crane this before. This came in as a felony. It could have been charged as a felony because the EMT
That's right.
is a healthcare provider. And I know it doesn't, for you, it doesn't really matter, but we chose to just
I
charge
appreciate that.
it, because if it would have charged as a felony, you would have been convicted as a felon now with a prior assault 1, you could have been going back to prison. So the conduct is serious, and you've been given
I appreciate
quite a
that.
bit of lenience in the charging already. Just so you're walking away being, man, I got a little bit lucky here too. I mean, I know from your standpoint it doesn't feel that way, but in reality, that it was asked to be charged as a felony, we charged as a gross misdemeanor. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But the bottom line is, the jury found you guilty. There's got to be some consequences. Now, what I'm struggling with is the consequences. Because the only other option, if you don't do jail, it's got to be some kind of community service or volunteer work. So I don't know what to tell you if you're telling me you cannot do community service or volunteer work. You don't leave me any option, really. Now, this is my question to you. Are you on a limited income then?
Excuse me?
Are you on a limited income?
Yeah, I've got a total disability from the Department of Labor and a 50% from the VA.
Okay. Because I guess my other thing that runs through my mind is whether we need some sort of anger management or anger classes. That's the other thing that runs through my mind. But in any event, it's got to be one or the other. So you cannot do volunteer work, or you cannot do community service. If you're 100% disability, they probably wouldn't take you.
Yeah, I don't know what I could do to keep up with the rest of them. I mean,
Okay.
Could I ask what the monthly income, we talked about this a little bit more, you bring in about $3,000 a month?
no, 5,000.
5,000.
5,000 a month? I think what I'm tempted to do is not do community service, not do volunteer work, have him do anger management, get an evaluation and do some anger management, I think is what I'm thinking. But if I did that, then you would be on probation, and you'd have to be monitored by probation to make sure that you did that. Would you be willing to do that?
How long? What do you mean anger management?
Well, you'd have to get an evaluation, because what I'm seeing, honestly, from your behavior that night, your back or not, I think there's some real anger issues.
Well, I just can't understand how somebody wouldn't, to me, and most of the people I've talked to are mad that they do something like that.
I know, but we're past that.
So what I would recommend is probation until the completion of the probation with, a $250 fine.
And then an
which is
anger
pretty-
evaluation.
And anger management and treatment. And that's a pretty, and you can set up with the clerk's office payments on the fine as well. You don't have to pay it, you can set up payments. That would be, I think, where I'd land.
Okay, how much time in jail? Because anger management, that's not my problem. Yes, I've got a temper, but I don't get mad unless somebody does something to me.
That's what the evaluation will tell and the treatment will tell. It'll look at, what are you doing in those situations? Is there a better way to handle them? That's the whole point of it.
I'm just afraid it's gonna be just like the other prosecutor had me take domestic violence. There was no domestic violence. I didn't know Cindy was even out there. The only domestic that came up with domestic violence was that she was out there.
Sure.
She admits that I did touch her, but she admits that I told her to get back, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
understand. Yeah.
I was trying to protect her the whole time out there, and her own words show that.
Well, and you know what? I mean, to be perfectly frank with you, I'm also kind of siding with the prosecutor. One of the things that concerns me, and I'm going to be really frank with you, is I don't see any accountability on your part at all. I don't think you did anything wrong. The way you talked to them, the way you called them names, I don't think you see any responsibility at all. And that is a concern for me. I'll be honest with you.
I'm sorry, Judge, but if you was in the kind of pain I was in, I just got home from back surgery. I was just trying to get a pain pill and go to bed. They came in with intent to assault me.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but it's just, I was there. Unfortunately, I was there. And yes, maybe I shouldn't have swore at them, but I didn't know they were even out there. And I did not swear at them. I was trying to get help. I did not swear at them until they refused to help me and then refused to leave. So swearing at them, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't have swung that lamp like described for nothing. I just rocked it. And
Well, rocking is not okay either. I'm just saying. So this is what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I am going to impose a $500 fine with a $43 conviction fee. It's got to be paid within 60 days in full or make payment arrangements. And I want you to get an anger management evaluation. And you're going to be on probation long enough just to get the evaluation and then any treatment if they say you need treatment. I'm not going to give you jail time.
Thank you.
I'm also not going to give you community service or work group because it doesn't sound like it's something you could do, and I don't want to set you up to fail. Hold on here just one sec. How's your back now?
Pretty stiff from sitting so long.
Yeah.
But I've been having a pretty good few days.
What was the date of this occurrence, Mr. Kraft?
April 10th, 2020.
Thank you.
When did that law come into effect? Do you know?
On the assault?
Yeah, just something like that would be assault.
Oh, it's
I
been
thought
around
assault,
since
you had
I
to
was,
hurt somebody, do something to somebody.
it's been around for at least 50 years.
But just startling somebody's assault. Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, that's what the one juror was saying. He's like, I see this stuff in Kelso all the time, remember? He's like, I know, and every time it's an assault. It's just that our officers don't, they don't always arrest. They sometimes will, arrest just the ones that are
And then I also want to give him
concerning.
the number for probation.
And they also didn't arrest you that day. They took you to the hospital, right? So they use that discretion.
Oh, shoot, what?
Oh, I'm just saying sometimes they'll do something like take you to the
That's why I
hospital
didn't write down the number
instead
for
of
probation
arrest you and
as
put you
well.
in jail. So that's what they did that day, is they were more concerned about your health than hauling you to the jail. Right?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but
That's okay.
that cop should have been the one going to jail.
Let me also say this.
Hmm?
You did well today. You behaved yourself today. You were very professional today, and I appreciate it.
Couldn't think, thought, oh, I couldn't piece it together, especially.
It's a little
trying to
more
get a question.
complicated. It's a little more complicated than it looks, isn't it? That's why we have to pay the big money to go to school. Okay, why don't you go ahead and come? Yeah, go ahead and come forward. I'm giving you the number for probation for you to give them a call. Once you get an evaluation, follow through with treatment.
So are we off the record, Judge? Are we done?
We are going to be off the record.